Hi, welcome to lesson 2, booking your clients in and pre-session work. Now, the first thing I'll say is that when your client contacts you through whatever form of advertising you've done, you need to book them in. Do not, however quiet you are, do not book them in the same day or even the following day, because that tells the client that you're not yet fully established or that you just don't have enough clients yet. If you were to be a super successful hypnotherapist, which of course you must portray yourself to be, because that then instills belief and confidence in your clients and instills into them a level of expectancy that whatever you do will work, which is the key to hypnosis working, because hypnosis exists only in the mind of the believer, then you would be very busy for at least a couple of weeks bare minimum. Now, with that in mind, I suggest that you do not book your clients in with less than a 2-week gap from them contacting you to actually physically getting to see you. Further, I advise that you take at least a 50% booking deposit off them at the time of booking the session, that you make quite clear to them is non-refundable, because they are booking your time, not the treatment. A spiritual healer called Matthew Manning, I believe, has a wonderful saying on his website that you pay for my time, the treatment comes free. So to ensure that they do not mess you around and waste your time, a 50% non-returnable booking deposit is taken at the time. This also shows they have a true commitment and they're not booking the session just because their wife or their husband just says, oh, go and try that. It'll help you stop smoking. No, the client must truly want to achieve whatever it is they're coming to you with for themselves, not because other people are moaning or nagging them. They've got to truly want to do it for themselves, because at the end of the day, all hypnosis is self-hypnosis. In other words, there's nothing we can do with basic hypnotherapy techniques that can make people do things against their will. Now, it is true that hypnosis can be used to manipulate people and make them do things against their moral code and their value, but they're high-level brainwashing, social engineering and mind control style techniques, which we're not going into in this course. So the client's got to truly be ready for change. On a side note, if people did want to learn mind control brainwashing techniques, they're covered, the full gamut of techniques available are covered in my Elite Hypnosis Bootcamp. Details at magicalguru.com when you click on the Elite Hypnosis Bootcamp button. Anyway, you take a 50% booking deposit, non-returnable, and when the client shows up for the session, I usually say something like, if you go and see a gypsy fortune teller, they say, cross my palm with silver. Well, none of us like talking about money, so if you can just give me the balance of the money now, then we can get on with concentrating on what's most important, and that's helping you become a confident, happy, healthy, relaxed non-smoker, or helping you to control your weight and avoid those sugary and fatty foods, or helping you become a person who laughs in the face of seeing a spider and is no longer scared of them, or whatever it is they've come to see you about. That way you get the balance of the money up front at the start of the session. This saves you messing around at the end, but also, more importantly, it shows another firm commitment by the client that they're ready for change and they're serious about it. If they're truly committed, then it will work for them. That is the largest percentage of why it does work. The truth is, the clients, whatever you help them with, could automatically have changed for themselves just by making a decision that I'm not going to buy any more cigarettes, I'm not going to smoke anymore, or going, I'm not going to eat sugary or fatty foods anymore. But if they did that, then their family and friends would notice that they had suddenly stopped smoking or they suddenly started losing weight, and they would say to them, hey, I notice you're not smoking anymore, what's gone on there? And if the person just said, well, I just decided to stop, their family and friends would say, well, why didn't you do that sooner, you fool, when you know it was harming you? And that would make the person feel bad. And sooner or later, they would relapse and go back to smoking or eating the sugary and fatty foods or being scared of spiders or whatever, so that they could feel better about themselves. And next time they saw their family member or friend, they could say, it started again. In other words, saying it wasn't that easy, so you can stop picking on me, or you can stop pointing out why didn't I do it sooner. So then they no longer feel bad. They no longer have a sense of self-blame, shame, guilt, or regret because they've gone back to how they were. Whereas if they come to a therapist like us and they pay a sizable fee, and that's another thing. There's therapists in England at the moment currently charging £25, £40, £50 a session. And even in America, therapists that are charging like $50 or $100 a session. I don't think that's enough. You're offering people a massive change in their life. At the moment in England, it cost in July 2019 £10 sterling for a packet of cigarettes, a packet of 20. So a 20-a-day smoker is spending £70 a week minimum. That's £280 in a calendar month. So surely you should be charging at least £250 sterling, or about $400 United States, to stop them smoking, where they're going to save thousands of pounds or dollars a year for the rest of their life. You're selling the sizzle, not the sausage. It's what they'll save in the long term, the benefits to their health, their future, and in some cases their finances. So you need to charge a sizable fee for it to be credible and believable that you're at the top of your field, which is also the reason why you don't book them in straight away, because you are so good at what you do, you're of course busy and have a waiting list before they can come and see you. But they have to pay 50% up front, the balance on arrival, so the commitment's there, and coming to you and seeing the diplomas on the wall, which trigger off the placebo effect and belief in you and expectancy that what you do will work, also gives them a safe environment where they believe that you're a professional who will help them. And the testimonials from previous clients that's on your websites, for example, and social media, have instilled into them an even heightened belief that what you do will work for them. And then before the session, you will have sent them, when they pay the 50% deposit, a copy of the questionnaires to fill in and complete. And you tell them they must fill these in ink. They must print them out, if you email them to them, print them out, complete them by hand with a pen, and then send them back to you physically through the post via sign for delivery to guarantee that you've got them at least 48 hours before the date and time of their session with you. This is so that you're getting them to start to obey commands, and as they obey your commands, they're becoming more highly suggestible to believing you as the authority figure, the hypnotist who will help them change their lives. You will see by looking at the questionnaires that are included in the download resources that they are worded to get you information about the client. They look professional and they give you information you can use within the session. So you've got their name, and you've also got their date of birth, for example, and you've got details of how long they've had this problem. So from that, you can, from their date of birth, work out their current age, then deduct the number of years that they say they've had this problem, and you know exactly what age this problem started without directly asking them that question. So during the session, when you tell them to imagine a time in their life when this problem started when they were 22, their mind's going to go, wow, I never told them I was 22 when this started. But of course, you know that will be right because you've got their date of birth, you've worked out their age, and you've deducted the number they gave you of the number of years they've had this issue. It's kind of a mind trick that helps create a heightened level of belief in what you are doing. The questionnaire also, by them writing down and answering the questions about what they're coming to you to see, they're starting to offload the problem onto paper, they're starting to disassociate it, and therefore the therapeutic work is already starting before they come and see you in your office. And then when they do come and see you, you're providing a safe environment, a professional environment where you're giving them permission to change, a ritualistic, important seeming process they can follow and believe in and buy into that removes from them all self-blame, shame, guilt and regret for not having got off their arse and stopped smoking or overcome that issue or whatever it is earlier, because they always could have done themselves if it wasn't for that fear of looking daft, that false evidence against reality, or indeed the true evidence that they know deep down that if they suddenly stop like that, or change themselves like that, which they are capable of, that people will start to criticise and go, why didn't you do it sooner? And then they start to feel ashamed or blame themselves or feel guilty or ridiculous or whatever. But by coming to us, paying money, investing time and money and going through the process, they can leave and tell people that they had to see an experienced professional therapist, and that helped them change their life, and therefore all self-blame, shame, guilt and regret is removed from them. See you in lesson 3.